Hello everyone, and welcome to orientation of the Cosmetology Handbook, and today we're going to cover pages 1 through 9. So I'd like to welcome each of you to the Cosmetology at Johnson Community College. JCC and the Cosmetology faculty are excited to have you as part of our program. We share a tremendous sense of pride and passion in what we offer within this curriculum. The love of this profession and its opportunity compels us to give you our very, very best. So cosmetology is a profession, and I want each of you to really understand that. It's a challenging, exciting, and rewarding career. I know some of you may have already had a successful career and have changed your careers to pursue your dreams or to pursue your passions. Some of you are entering into the field just already knowing what you want to do, and some of you are trying to figure it out. But either way, please understand that student success in completing this program is highly dependent upon diligence of study, work ethic, sense of morals and principle, and professionalism. With student success a top priority of the cosmetology faculty, you as a student must possess the above characteristics to assist in your success within the program and this profession. So as we think about this handbook and what we're going to cover in this handbook, it is exclusively for the cosmetology students of Johnson Community College. Remember, it serves as a supplement to the Johnson Community College catalog that covers general institutional policies related to all students at the college. The policies unique to the cosmetology program are specified in this handbook. So all rules, regulations, and policies in this handbook apply to cosmetology students. You are encouraged to refer to it often. So just keep in mind, team, that as you guys go throughout your curriculum here with us here at JCC, this handbook is pretty much your lifeline. Your reference to this handbook in reference to policies. It's going to also hold you accountable on how to conduct yourself throughout the program, but it's also going to hold us as faculty responsible as well. So this handbook isn't just about us looking in the handbook and looking at what you can and can't do. It also is to hold us as faculty responsible to make sure that we're producing excellence as we work with you, as we teach you, and as we help guide you into your future career endeavors. But we do want you to remember that it is the responsibility of every student to review this handbook independently and to refresh upon its contents every semester. Students will receive any changes or addendums upon needed updates, and should you have any questions concerning any elements of information in this handbook, please talk with your instructor or schedule a time to meet with the department chair or the director, program director, to discuss questions or concerns. So we want to cover the cosmetology curriculum. What would we cover in this curriculum? There's a whole bunch of information that we're going to cover, but I want everyone to understand as you're going from COS 111 and 112 and transitioning over to COS 113 and 114. For you guys are going to be going to COS 115 and COS 115 straight into your summer session, and then you're going to go into 113, 114, and then your final semester of your major courses in cosmetology is going to be COS 117 and 118. And throughout those different terms or those different semesters, throughout the entire curriculum, you will cover all of this information I'm about to go to. Now, how do we determine what curriculum you guys are going to cover? It is based off the NC Board of Cosmetic Arts. They tell us what we're responsible to make sure that we cover with you guys within a cosmetology program. There's an entire curriculum that's mandated by the board that's covered for nail technology, and the same thing for our aesthetics as well and natural hair care. So this is specific for our cosmetology curriculum mandated by the Board of Cosmetology. So to meet the approval of the board, a cosmetologist training course shall begin with infection control and blood exposure procedures as defined in 21 NCAC 14H .0403 and .0404 and consists of 1,500 hours of instruction in theory and practical application as set forth in this rule. So keep in mind, everything we do is guided and is part of the regulations of the NC Board of Cosmetic Arts. So we are responsible first to make sure that we cover infection control. So you're going to see that throughout as I read through the material that we're going to cover. And this is going to consist of all of the curriculum that we're going to cover throughout your entire 1,500 hours that you need to accrue. So theory and practical application shall include professional image, infection control, bacteriology, and you're going to see that when we start talking about chapter 5. Well, it might look a little different, but the infection control, bacteriology, disinfection, first aid, anatomy, electricity as it relates to cosmetic arts, chemistry as it relates to cosmetic art, professional ethics, draping, shampooing, roller sets, pin curls, ridge curls with C shapings, finger waves, braids, artificial hair, up styles, blow drying, brush control, blow drying with curling iron, pressing or thermal curling, hair cutting, partings, perm types and wraps. So you'll experience different types of perm wraps, different types of relaxer types and sectioning, color types and application sectioning. So you'll do different types of color applications, scalp treatments, manicures, pedicures, artificial nails. And then we're going to look at different types of styles and techniques of cosmetology services, including arranging the hair in different ways, dressing the hair in different ways, curling the hair, waving the hair, cutting techniques and implements, including razors, clippers, thinning shears and shears, cleansing, whether it's for the hair or skin, cutting, singeing, bleaching or coloring the hair, aesthetics, manicuring, business management, and salon business. And you guys will also have to cover what we call performance evaluation. So all of that information that I just briefly went through, while you're in COS 111, 112, and then as you transition over into COS 115 and 116, you're going to cover different evaluation plans. You're going to start off with the blow drying and hot iron and your hair cutting evaluation plans. You're going to cover a couple of other ones while you're in COS 112. The remaining of those performance evaluations, your clipper cutting, your color applications, your relaxer applications, your permanent waving. Some of those are going to be completed once you transition over into COS 115. These performance evaluations are designed to ensure that out of all of the procedures that you learn, the most difficult ones that could cause harm to your clients, the Board of Cosmetic Arts want to make sure that we do a particular performance evaluation to ensure that you do these properly using the actual products to complete these when you do them, and to ensure that you pass them with a grade of an 80% or higher, that you do this on a mannequin, and then once you make this grade of 85 or higher, it will allow you to then perform those services on a live client. So each school must develop and use performance evaluation plans for each of the board required performances listed below. Evaluation plans must include a minimum of infection control, tool safety, draping, and safe application. Teachers must ensure students follow infection control and blood exposure procedures evaluations plans with a score of 100%, receive theory and practical instructions, and pass each of the following performance evaluations prior to performance services on live models. So what you guys are going to see when you get into COS 112, your instructor is automatically going to begin working on what we call these infection control evaluations. Before you can do any hairstyling, before you can do any work on your mannequins, this is the first thing you have to complete. So understand that I know you guys are going to be anxious and you're going to be ready to rock and roll to work on those mannequins, but we can't work on those mannequins until you actually know how to care. One, in a making sure that you're able to properly practice this infection control. So before I start working on my client, I have to make sure that I'm evaluated on hand washing, that I properly know how to properly wash my hands. And I know we're all like, whatever, I know how to wash my hands, but the state board has their way to ensure that we're doing it properly so that we can reduce the amount of possible harmful pathogens that we pass from client to client, or student to mannequin, or student, and I say that because your mannequin becomes your client, and we're going to treat that mannequin as if it is a live client. So, and then we have the cleaning, disinfecting of tools. We can't start working with a comb or with a brush or with our cape if we don't know what to do with it after we've gotten it dirty. So we got to learn all of this information first. You guys are going to learn your pre-service procedure at the beginning of the day before you even touch a client. There's a prep that you have to do called a pre-service procedure or beginning of day procedure that you have have to do to prepare your environment, your work environment, prior to a client coming getting service. And then some things that you have to do at the very end of the day once you finish working with clients, your post-service procedures. And then if you should happen to cut yourself or your client, now we're dealing with bloodborne pathogens. So now we need to know how do I handle the situation without, if I have something that's contagious, that might pass a bloodborne pathogen that might pass from person to person, I have to make sure that I am cleaning myself up properly and handling that blood exposure procedure properly. If I cut my client, what do I need to do? And how do I handle their blood properly without contaminating myself or getting myself infected? So these are the things that we must pass at 100 percentile before you can begin working on even your mannequin. And then once you complete these, then you'll go back to that slide that I just went over, and you're going to see that your instructor is going to begin introducing some of those different procedures that are covered in our curriculum requirements. Now, after you go through our program, one thing that you have to keep in mind is our graduation policy. Now, it's important that you understand this information so that you can be a successful student. So when we think about our graduation policy, cosmetology students are eligible for a diploma or associate in applied science degree, and that's regardless if you have a certificate, if you're in the certificate program of study, the diploma program of study, or our degree program of study. You will end up with either this diploma or an associate's in applied science degree, and that is based off of our daytime curriculum program. And you can do this upon meeting the following requirements. One, that you have passed all courses specified and required in the cosmetology program of study that you selected. Okay, so if you select a certificate, then you have to complete all of those classes to actually graduate. If you signed up for the diploma, then you'll complete all those classes to graduate. Or if you signed up for the degree, then you will complete all those classes. Now, what the beautiful thing about this is that you guys can enroll into the certificate and these other programs. So if you think that it's going to be a problem and you want to make sure that you get once you finish all of your core major classes, what I do is I will add the certificate as your secondary program of study so that you will graduate out with that certificate. You can go ahead and apply for licensure and go through and apply for testing, and then you will continue to take classes as a licensed stylist once you complete all of the next steps to actually get your license, and you can continue our program to obtain your degree. Some students might decide to just complete the degree altogether and then go apply for licensure, but just understand that you do have options. Also, you want to make sure that you have earned a minimum cumulative grade point average of a 2.0, and that you have taken and passed at least 1/4 of the course requirements specified in the curriculum at Johnson Community College. It is anticipated that the final 15 semester credit hours be completed at this college. You also want to make sure that you have taken and passed all required practice and exit exams. That is what you're going to begin taking in COS 117. It is important for you to pass this, because you won't be, if you do not pass all of your practice exams and all of your exit exams, you will not pass COS 117. We will discuss that further in our orientation. You also need to ensure that you have a minimum of 1,500 clock hours and have completed and passed all NC Board required infection control and performance evaluations. It is important. That's why attendance is so important, guys. You cannot pass our program until you have accrued 1,500 clock hours. So I encourage you to set yourself up for success. Come to class, whether you don't feel well, unless the campus say you can't come to, the school says you can't come to campus due to COVID-related issues. You need to press your way. Save those days off for when you really, really need it. I promise you. I've seen semester after semester where students do not plan accordingly, and then when they get to the final semester, they put themselves in a stressful situation. And I stress, they put themselves in a stressful situation if they do not follow our attendance guidelines. You must also have an 80% minimum chapter at grade for all required chapters. That is chapters in both the red 14th edition textbook as well as your foundations textbook. You cannot pass without 80% minimum chapter grade for each. So make sure that you are doing your due diligence with studying, making time to study. And I say that making time because both your instructors and myself have all been in your shoes that you're about to get in, and we totally understand, but we had to make time to ensure that we studied. We had to make set, whether it was waking up crazy early hours or going to bed really, really late, we had to position ourselves to be successful when we're in the program. And then you also want to make sure that you have paid all financial obligations owed to the college and have filed an application for graduation within the first 10 days of the final semester. And I assist with that because I teach COS 117. And I want you to definitely refer to your JCC catalog for additional information. Now, after you've successfully completed a curriculum program, all of the things I just went over, so that includes the 1,500 hours, if you have not completed everything on that graduation policy, you're not ready for state board testing. But once you've completed all of those things that I just mentioned for the graduation, then you're ready for state board testing and eligibility. So after successful completion of all the requirements of the student's designated JCC program of study and all state board requirements, students will be eligible to sit for the NC State Board of Cosmetic Art examinations. And when you get into COS 117, during our orientation for that particular class, I go through everything about the testing. When you guys come back to me, we schedule appointments, and you'll set up an appointment with the program director, and we will schedule a time to get together to get you set up for your testing. So that will be further discussed once you get into COS 117, okay? Now, when we think about our licensure requirements of the NC North Carolina applicants, once again, cosmetologist, 1,500 hours in an approved cosmetic art school, cosmetologist curriculum, and completion of the required performance. So a lot of students tend to ask me, well, what about apprenticeship, and what about we have a complete cosmetology curriculum, and by the time you finish our cosmetology curriculum, you will have that 1,500 hours. It is in your best interest to go ahead and get your cosmetology curriculum license. And I'll talk more to you guys about this apprenticeship thing. Passage of the state board examination. When you guys go to take the test, your test needs to be for the state board 75% or higher, and a payment of appropriate fees. Now, you're going to see that our scores for our institution is at 80% for each chapter. The state board, when you actually go and take their exams, they only require a minimum of a 75. Now, I tell you, I monitor each month our passage rate, and we have a 100% passage rate for our daytime curriculum program students of both our written and our practical exam. We are positioning ourselves to ensure that you guys are prepared for both the written examination as well as the practical exam. So after graduation and passage of the state board exams, NC Cosmetic Arts School graduates must file application either online or via the online license application or by mail. And the license will be issued and mailed to you within 5 to 10 business days after the receipt of the completed application and payment. There are some fees down here, and we'll go further into this when we get into our COS 117 course. And then there's also the opportunity for you guys to obtain a temporary permit. And so once again, each graduate is eligible for a temporary permit if the following is complete. Your graduation paperwork is submitted to the board. I can do that once you have successfully graduated from our completed program. That means you do not have an I incomplete for a grade. You actually have a grade for all of your courses, and that you have obtained 1,500 hours, and that you have met the passage. You have met the grades for passing both your practice and exit exams, and you have obtained that 80% for every chapter averaged of the chapters that are covered in our curriculum. And so that's when I can submit that graduation paperwork for you. And the graduate submits the examination application within 3 months of the date of graduation to Prov Exam, and then the graduate submits the temporary permit form and $5 fee to the board. All permits are valid for 6 months after the date of graduations, and